Sign on the other end.
Is the committee to order? The minutes have been sent out. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written unless there's some changes.
Can't be a sign on both ends.
Got Bill and Jessica. And unfortunately, we don't have any presentation, so Ryan can't talk to us. So we'll jump right into resolution.
The first one is appropriating funds from fund balance into legislative contingency to support recommendations of the ad hoc committee for EMS issues in the amount of $345,000.
Any questions or comments?
I'd like to recuse myself from this.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Authorizing Lewis County to apply for 2023 Office of Community Renewal New York Main Street Program grant funding up to $500,000 for downtown stabilization project located at 7623 North State Street, Village of Wabble.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing 2023 program year CDBG applications and appointing the Planning and Community Development Director as a certifying officer for all community development block grants and declaring proposed projects as type 2 actions with no significant environmental impacts.
Any questions or comments?
Just want to apologize right now for these five. They all seem like they're alike, but they're not, and we do need to keep them separate for the state funding. That's why you have them separate.
Sounds good. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Approving county's commitment to complete streets plan and policy.
Questions or comments?
There's a short little policy attached to the resolution, so, you know, if you all can take the time to read it before the board meeting, you will be voting on an actual policy.
Can I just add one very quick thing?
Tom, you gonna let him do that?
He said very quick.
Yeah.
Okay, time up.
The implications of this, I just want to be very clear. You know, what we're, in the past, when we have a county road that goes through a hamlet or a village, we have only taken responsibility for the paving of that road. What this new policy is doing is, we are now saying that we're going to try to, when we go through there, we're gonna take care of storm drainage, sidewalks, you know. If you look at Port Lyden, Beaver Falls, and Glenfield are three examples where in the past, we have just gone through and paved and said, well, everything else is not our responsibility. Now what we're saying is, we're gonna start taking responsibility for some of those other things in those communities. So, for example, Glenfield, this summer, we're doing the design for that. That's about a $4 million project. That's because what we're asking to do is storm drainage, sidewalks, the whole thing. So basically what we're saying is it's good for our community because people, you know, utilize the sidewalk, complete streets out and about. And secondly, you know, the towns and villages don't have the resources to do that. So we're stepping up to try to take care of some of those main streets.
Well, that's what I mean, this is another thing that the county does for all the towns.
And it's something else we're giving back to the people, basically.
Yes.
But on the other aspect, if you didn't do this, you could give more to others. You could pave more streets in other areas. They might not be as pretty, but you could do more for more people.
Yep.
Yeah.
The cost of the Glenfield project, I think, is gonna be about $4 million. That one, we're trying to get Main Street grant funding for. But, you know, that's more than we would normally spend to reserve, you know, to repave that portion of road.
So what other municipality or village has county infrastructure right?
Definitely any place where a county road intersects. So definitely Port Lyden, Turin, Beaver Falls, Glenfield.
Or Lions Falls has, Laura Street's a county.
But that's on the way out.
Right.
But where's like?
Well,
Slide in.
I'm thinking
Then
about
that portion of Osceola Road.
Yeah, not the old
I'm thinking about what Jeff is alluding to is how do we maintain fairness throughout the county? Glenfield is heavy, county infrastructure, but the majority of municipalities are not. So how do you maintain fairness?
The docket that we have now is Glenfield and then Port Lyden going out of town up the hill. I forget what county route that is, but those are the two that we have in the next 5 years or so that we're looking at. Then after that, you have West Road and Turner and Beaver Falls. And I mean, it's not the whole road, it's just that portion that goes through the village where trying to take a little bit more responsibility.
Joan, are we exposing ourselves to more liability then?
I don't necessarily think so, because as I've had that discussion with Tim, we end up helping them anyway on a lot of these projects, so.
The policy doesn't say we have to do that.
Right.
It says it's our aspirational goal.
Well, Brian, to Larry and Jeff's point, there's nothing in Diana that would apply to this. So how do you make things equal?
I don't think it's gonna be completely equal. I mean, you gotta think of where people live too. I mean, no, no.
They are, they're
There's
looking at the
I'm talking about
complete
density,
streets.
in terms of population density. You
Right.
know, when you invest in a county road that goes past 40 houses in 1/4 mile, that is more bang for their buck than the person that there's one house every 2 miles on a county road. So there is a kind of equity issue there with, you know, investing equally per household.
I think a couple of thoughts I might throw in there. One, this is kind of just another tool in the toolbox to downtown revitalizations, community revitalizations. We've got other programs that we're doing that are helping in other communities and could help in these same communities. And another thought is that some of these other communities you're talking about have a state road going through them, and when the state does their project, they typically will redo the entire thing. Those allowable, they did that, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago, there's probably other places, Krogan. So it might not,
Storm drainage in particular is something that we've ignored, and is very bad, on some of the county roads. And we get calls on it, we say, well, that's the village's responsibility. And then they call the village says that's a county road. So no one takes responsibility, and
So is your expectation the majority of this would be paid for by grants?
for Glenfield, yes. But, you know, if we do another one 2-3 years from now, it'll depend on those, you know, on grants in the future.
it's gonna be different
And
situations.
part of the reason why planning wants the county to adopt this policy is to have a better chance of getting all those funds. Because we've adopted a complete streets policy to follow, or that we hope to follow. Our guide, it's a guide for us to try to reach those goals.
That includes walkability and that type of thing,
Yes,
right?
walking, biking.
Which is a big incentive up there. They'd love to have the walkability.
Yeah.
So that might be a way to balance.
I agree with Eric. I see it as a community revitalization tool. I think you like to hope that private investment follows public investment, and, you know, if someone's taking care of the streets and storm drainage and sidewalks in a way that hasn't happened in 30 years or more, hopefully that other people take, you know, advantage and clean up their properties, and momentum begets momentum. But it is a more significant investment than we've done in the past. I think it's important to make that distinction before you guys just, I guess I wanted to be clear that that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, it's a policy and it's not dictated that we are going to take care of every problem that comes up.
As they come up, right?
Yep.
Think about this here where you got a county road going through a municipality, there's only so much of a right of way you can deal with, right? I mean, I always bring it back to my community, I'm thinking Osceola Road going into West Lyden, there's only so much space there.
Right.
To get a bike path sidewalk and all this stuff, I don't foresee with log trucks, school buses, and all that going through there, the space for it either. You know, it's like, there's only so much you can do in a space.
Yep.
That would probably dictate the outcome. I mean, if you don't have room for the bike.
You're gonna have the sidewalk.
Everybody is.
The, you know, in terms of equity, we are responsible for storm drainage on the more rural parts of our county roads, culverts, and how much money do we spend up on, by the Montague Inn, with their Sears Pond Road, with their, you know, moving storm drainage around. So on the one hand, we take responsibility for storm drainage and moving water on other parts of our county roads, but we haven't in the villages. So, you know, there's, I guess equity could go that way too.
I think Denmark's in the same boat as Diana, right? I can't think of any county roads that go through our.
Casterland, what goes,
East Road, but it doesn't actually, it's 410 that goes through, it's state road.
so then no.
And I don't think Copenhagen or the Hamlet of Denmark.
So it's hit or miss.
Well, we're back to a policy where each situation will be unique.
Yes.
If it's a goal, I understand if it's a goal, I think it's a good goal, but it's a goal, it's not a mandate.
Because of the low to moderate income in Glenfield, we're hoping to rack it up for this particular project. That might not always be the case, you know. Depends on the demographic profile of the road, the area we're looking to do. So for this case, because of New York Main Street funding that we've already received, we're feeling like we're gonna be in a good position to get good grant funding. I don't know the demographic profile of our road that goes through Arch Road, for example, in Beaver Falls, you know, I don't know.
A lot of weirdos on that road.
What's that?
A lot of weirdos on that road. Demographically speaking.
Demographically.
Well, you gave him the opening, Tom.
Yes.
I
that was
see
quick.
that, real quick. All right, I guess the discussion's over with, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing Lewis County to apply for 2023-2024 Smart Growth Community Planning and Zoning Grant Program funds up to $100,000 to advance the preparation and adoption of updated zoning regulations on behalf of the town of Diana.
There you go.
I was gonna say, now you're getting that, Kenna.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing grant application for 2023 Office of Community Renewal, New York Main Street grant funding up to $20,000 for a technical assistance program project to create and establish countywide design guidelines.
Questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then we have one motion to cancel the July legislative committee meetings due to the Lewis County Fair opening ceremonies and the fair parade.
What's the date of that?
July 18th. It's Ryan's birthday.
Oh.
You should all have to come in for that.
And the county is throwing a party.
Every year they throw me a parade.
I'll make
Right
that
out of
motion.
town, but it hasn't worked yet.
I didn't realize you were in
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Jessica? All in favor, aye. Motion carried.
Appreciate those no property.
And if there isn't anything else, I'll entertain an adjournment. Jeff, second? Phil, seconded.
Good
All in
job.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Okay, so for CDL, the idea is we want to get the county to host a course, get this regulatory course. Get all the,
That's right.
I guess we should include the schools too, and give us, is it different?
I heard that the schools are maybe different.
Oh, okay.
Schools have their own stuff.
Gotcha.
Tom, I can get a re-signature.
So it'll be for the town.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah, of course, yeah. 'Cause we
the deck.
3 MEO right now. So, hoping to take that pool summer, is 1 or 2 that have shown some function. Bring them in, but then they won't.
Yeah.
Qualify for the
You know, my whole thought was that
The other thing I don't understand is that we have the early bird discount on the registration.
how.
No, thank you very much, Sharon.
How much does it cost?
Well,
Yeah, well,
yeah.